The Art of Commerce is a podcast featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. Hosted by Anish, a data-obsessed creative director, and Jinx, a growth-obsessed CMO. Listen on for actionable insights for the modern marketer.
I feel like you also have to be a content creator. You have to be the brand. You have to build a platform which supercharges your presence and inspires your customers, your peers, and your stakeholders. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're spot on, Anish. I mean, the best CMOs, and quite frankly, the best CEOs, the best leaders of organizations, they don't just talk about storytelling, they live it, right? They aren't just talking about the brand, they are the brand. They are a brand unto themselves, right? And the reason because of that is consumers demand authenticity now. There's too much out there. There's too much information online. They know too much about the company, and even if you look at younger generations, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, right? They expect it. They demand it because they grew up that way. They're not just going to take what's given. They're going to say, do I believe in the values of this organization? Do I believe in the values of the leader? Do I connect with them, right? And that's to purchase the product. And that's also if they want to work at the company, right? So it's so important for the CMO of today, CEO of today, the leaders of today, to tell their story, to be storytellers, and to be their brand, and to own that brand.
And it's easier than ever, right? All of us have a 4K camera in our pockets. We've got great quality microphones. And also distributing content now is free, if not cheaper than ever, right? It doesn't take any money to upload a YouTube video or make a LinkedIn post and share that valuable knowledge which you bring to work every day. I believe that content that works is either entertaining or educational, right? And as long as you add value to whoever's consuming your content, you're good. Right? And that's what a CMO does every day.
Yeah.
Right? Keep me honest. You're in there, you're inspiring, educating, sometimes entertaining, motivating. Right? And you already have that knowledge. Why wouldn't you just go out there, maybe start a podcast? If that's too much of an investment, maybe just share a LinkedIn post, right? Build that brand. We saw the rise of some of the biggest creators /entrepreneurs in the last 15 years. We've got Gary Vaynerchuk, one of my favorites. Guy gives nuggets of information on his channel, right? Also a very successful marketing agency owner.
Yep.
You've got Neil Patel, super knowledgeable guy, someone I followed through the beginning of my career. Your friend Avinash Kaushik.
My guy right there.
He's awesome.
Unbelievable.
Right?
And as nice as he is, knowledgeable. So
like creating content builds discovery, right? Which also just helps you influence a lot of your stakeholders, a lot of your customers. Like, and something you said about even the customers, if they're looking to make a purchase, if they can make a personal connection with someone who's not a celebrity, who's actually a stakeholder of the business, makes a lot of sense. Do you remember that very famous what was it? Razer commercial was it Harry's? Where the CEO talks to the camera, it inspired a whole bunch of
I think it was or Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club. That's what.
Right? And I think that still hasn't changed. Fundamentally, you just put your voice out there and start creating.
That's right.
Have you seen any benefits of thinking and acting like a content creator as a CMO yourself?
Yeah, well, so first of all, you're exactly right. Like the barrier to entry on content creation and development is so low, right? You said it. We got the 4K camera in our pocket on our phones. AI helps us tweak and edit. Again, it doesn't replace. It enables, right? So it allows you to have a whole team of people behind you when you're one person, right? And so, in the next phase after Sling, I've embarked on this new consulting company, Growth Stack Commerce, which is really designed to help brands with their growth, but also key tech partners with their growth and go to market as well. And what I've been learning through this is I was sort of one-sided on in the corporate world, right? I had I had a brand, right? And, I would publish my brand. I'd be on LinkedIn, but it was occasional, right? And it was maybe using 50% of the tools at my disposal. When you go out on your own and you want to be more creator, and I'm taking inspiration from all the guys you're talking about, you realize that there's so many more tools at your disposal, but there's also so many more audiences you can connect with. And that the A/B testing that you were doing on, say, website optimization, you can do exactly the same, right? What content resonates? What's the headline that resonates? Do people want to hear it this way? Do people want to hear it that way? Is it an infographic? Is it a podcast, right? There's so many ways now to test and optimize your brand and the barrier to entry is so low that what I've learned is I should have been doing this for years. Oh. And Anish will say, oh, but you have because you post on LinkedIn. But for me, I felt like I just scratched the surface, and now I'm really taking ownership with it. And that was the impetus to start Growth Stack Commerce and the impetus to start the Art of Commerce, right?
Art of Commerce, yeah. Jinx, I am a big believer in creating content. You know why? I believe that you don't know who's going to see it, okay? And you just don't know how many degrees of separation you might be able to bypass by just putting yourself out there.
Huh.
This is 2021, okay? This is February 2021. 2 months since I moved to New York, $2,000 to my name, and I needed a job, okay?
Yeah.
The only place I could get a job at was my school, where I did my master's in media management. I went to the new school.
Yeah. Great school, by the way. Plug it.
Great school. But I needed a job. And the only way that I knew how to get a job was by making a film. So I went to Washington Square Park. I went to Times Square. I asked a bunch of my followers to send love letters to a stranger in New York City. I took those messages from my Instagram. I made love letters. I wrote them by hands. And I just distributed them. And I captured people's reaction. 4-minute video. Cost me about $50 to produce the whole thing. Okay? And it blew up. And then I sent that to the dean of my school. And I said, hey, if I can do this for myself, I want to do something even bigger for your school. And that's how I got a job that helped me pay through the rest of my student life in New York City. That really reinforced the fact that you gotta create content.
Yeah, I mean, if you build it, they will come, right? Anish, and you built it, right?
Yeah. And we spoke about how the CMO needs to be a good storyteller.
That's right.
What is the cardinal rule of storytelling? Show, don't tell.
Show, don't tell. That's right.
Don't tell me you can do this. Show me.
100%.
Right. And that's why I think, we live in an era where you don't need to know coding to build an app. You got to know vibe coding tools.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to be a movie editor to make a film. You just use an app, right? What's stopping you from creating content if you are a marketing person?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the biggest thing, because I've talked to now starting Growth Stack and talking to a bunch of solopreneurs and other folks, like the biggest barrier isn't technology anymore. It's your own self. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that's like, oh, I don't know if they're going to like the content, like they being the public or the people, or will it get any traction? And, like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to be a flip about it, but like there's so many audiences, there'll be somebody that this resonates with, first of all.
Also, if you never try, you will never know.
Exactly. And back to the point of, you can A/B test it.
Yes.
And so, we'll get philosophical a little bit. We're very self-absorbed, right? You know what I mean? I got a stain on my shirt. I can't leave the house because I got the stain on my shirt. Everyone's going to look at. My wife looks at me and says, nobody cares about the stain on your shirt, right? Nobody's going to give it any mind. They got to live their own life. They got to do their own thing. So my advice to those listening is get to creating. Put out content. If it resonates, awesome. If it resonates with one person, you've made a difference. And I highly believe it will. If it doesn't, then you learn something, right? You learned that maybe the algorithm isn't in your favor. How do you juke the algorithm? Maybe the content delivery needs to be edited. Maybe the presentation needs to be edited. Whatever it is. Again, we talked about it in the last episode. Failure is the path to success. And if you don't fail, if you don't put yourself out there, you will never succeed. So you have to. Okay. And that's the biggest thing. If nothing else, the biggest barrier to entry is yourself. And once you get over that, technology, AI, all that will enable the heck out of you. And that's what we just got to remember.
I also think that it's a great career insurance, right? You may have a great product, but if customers aren't discovering you, how will you make a sale? Similarly,
That's right.
you may be the most talented person that's out there, but you need to have awareness. You need to have content out there that creates interest and desire for that final action, or maybe hiring or consulting with you.
Yeah, that's right. And it can be buying the product or service like you just talked about, or recruiting. Like, again,
Yes.
you know, I'm doing my own consulting thing, but I lived in corporate world for over 20 years, right? When I want to recruit people, what's the best way to do it? Go speak on a panel, go speak at Adobe Summit, or go, because then people see you. They see you out there. They see, the culture you're trying to build, the vision you're trying to build, they believe what type of leader you are. So that authenticity, that content creation, right, is so important to recruiting, right? It's like the bad sports analogy, right? You have a transfer portal to wherever you want to go now, right? You could go to take any job you want. Why come to Sling? Well, we've got a great team. Why? Because the leader is showing me that and being authentic and using all of the tools available to be a platform.
That's true. Jing, something I've seen you do extremely well is how you marry your personal brand with the company you're working at. And you've done this so well in your time at Sling Dish. How do you elevate your own voice while making sure you're consistent with the company narrative? And did you have to get any media training for that? Would you advise someone to be trained in media speaking opportunities?
I would advise someone to be media trained. I admittedly have never been.
I wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment, and I've heard that from others. You know, we have a PR team at Sling and Dish, and they said you're fine. So I said, okay, great. I'll take that as a you're fine. But no, I highly encourage it. I mean, look, everyone has a different personality. Everybody reacts to situations differently, and sometimes you can feel natural on camera. You can feel natural speaking about the things you feel passionate about, but also know the right words to say to do it. Other people, they need help, right? Like, you know, it's the old adage, right? You don't talk about all the problems, you talk about all the opportunities, right? And so sometimes people need that, right? For me, it comes naturally to me. You know, I grew up on stage and performing. Maybe that's some of it. But I think to answer your question about how you marry the vision of a company with your own is hopefully you, in my case, that's something I got to shape some of it. So it was very natural to me to infuse in the shaping of it my brand, and thus speaking about it made sense. But if you don't have that complete opportunity, then you can think about your work and how your work is a projection of your brand and marry those two together. And that's what I was able to do, for example, when I was at Comcast. I ran e-commerce. It wasn't the whole brand. I worked for the CMO. But what I was able to do is listen to her and be inspired by her and marry that to my job and my work and my brand. And so when I would project outwardly or be on interviews or produce my own content, that would shine through.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Jinx, do you think producing content create or like even just making sure your voice is heard, is that a non-negotiable? Because I believe it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's 100% a non-negotiable. And, you know, sometimes, you know, people don't always look at it favorably, right? I'll be honest with you, right? Like some folks listening, they might get pushback of, oh, you know, we want to be under the radar, you know, you're trying to elevate yourself, not the brand. But it goes hand in hand. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? We are individuals. We all have profiles, right?
That's true.
You know, LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, Instagram profile, TikTok profile, whatever else is coming profile, you know, like we can't operate in a world that's still living behind a faceless, you know, cubicle row where nobody sees you. Everyone sees you, right? Or everyone can see you. Whether they see you or not is up to you, right?
Well
to,
said.
to really be out there.
Yeah.
Right? But everyone can. You have that ability. So we have to live in the now, right? So to me, I think you're absolutely right. The non-negotiable, if you're going to set up an Instagram profile, right, for yourself, then you're out there. So you might as well take advantage of it. And I think you have a great case study in how you take content and your creation and your work as a creator and further your career with it. I think that's amazing.
You know what that makes me think of Jinx? When I first joined Jinx's scheme, it's something that I had never done before. Yeah, I'm not an e-commerce native. I've led teams who create assets for e-commerce sites, right? But on your team, for the first time ever, I had to learn the language of data. Okay, I had to learn analytics, and there would be days when I would just be like, "Oh, this is important. I get it, but I don't want to do it." Okay, so what I would do is, hey, my job is still pretty creative.
Yeah.
So I would come in and I would just start making those Midjourney images for the channel.
Yeah.
And that would motivate me enough to learn about the data impact.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just that thinking like a creator just made me come in every day, show up, and be great at my job.
Yeah. That's right.
Maybe that's just me. I love creatives. Like, I love making creatives. But you gotta think like a creator.
Yeah, no, you have to. And it's funny. I mean, you make a good point, right? We all have different entry points.
Yes.
Right. And so not everyone's like a niche. Some people actually lean as data as their first entry point and then not creative second. But however you get there, you need both, right? This art of commerce, right? Art of data, art of marketing, whatever you want to call it, right? And it needs both, right? That's what a good marketer is. There's data and there's insight and there's analysis and then there's art and there's intuition and there's creativity and they are blended. It's just the entry point you come in. So like, I think you make a great point, which is like, you made this creative and you wanted to see how it did.
Yes.
Right. And that drove you to wanting to see data. Right. You know, similarly, like you might love data and then you're like, when you start creating content, you're like, that didn't work. Well, then you should be curious about why it didn't work and then get better creative. Right. So you can have both ways. Right. And, you know, just funny for me because, you know, if you know me and you know how I run the channel and the team, I look at our sales data almost in real time. Almost to the annoyance of everyone, including my wife. But that's a different story. But so I do that with like LinkedIn posts or whatever, like or YouTube views. Like, how many views is it getting? Is it getting more, less? Is it why not? Is it the algorithm? Is it this? Is it that? And then you start to get curious. And then what does curiosity breed? A testing roadmap, right, to the marketer. And then you start to optimize, right? And it's just, you know, it doesn't matter, again, how you get in.
That's true.
It's a non-negotiable. You have to do it. Get out of your own head. That's my advice. Get out of your own head, okay? Just do it. The worst you can do is learn. And learning breeds success. So that's the worst that can happen. So why not?
Well said. Jinx, I think another thing that I like about thinking as like a creator is not just going out there and making posts on social, but also approaching your internal meetings as an opportunity to create content and tell stories.
Yes, that's right.
You mentioned breadcrumbing in a previous episode where you are working every day. You're living the story every day. Can you have an act one, the beginning, can you have a middle, the challenge or the action, and the results, and then tell a story? Because we all thinking stories, we're remembering stories, right? And if you think like a creator, you are engaging your stakeholders. Like, and you said this in the first episode as well. You said you got different sets of audiences on your team, right? Everyone cares about a different thing, but the story is still the same.
That's right.
Embracing that creator's mindset can allow you to create content or reports, emails, decks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's such a good distinction because, you know, I naturally lead to the outbound communication, right? But you're exactly right. Where, you know, again, and I didn't think, oh, I'm a creator, but like I agonized and spent so much time around what's the words of an email, right? I got to email the president of the division. I'm a e-commerce director at the time. How do I convey the good and the bad and the fix in a way that this person's going to consume it in an email on their phone, right? How, during the pandemic, when we had the greatest e-commerce growth in Xfinity history, do I produce a video that I can share to the whole company about what we've done? Right? That's a video. That's not an email. Two different, completely different mediums, completely different audiences. Spent the same amount of time, though, the same amount of thought, same amount of effort, because it matters, right? To your point, I mean, you said the best. Like, you create content, that content opens doors, right? Don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
Right? You know, this could open a door that you don't even know. This could impress someone you have no idea. And I know that from my experience, right? I got opportunities, you know, because I was able to present to the president one-on-one and tell her a story about how we were building our e-commerce, right? And that led to something bigger. I didn't know it at the time, right? I didn't know what it would lead to, but I know the worst thing to do would be not seize the advantage of it, right? And so you're exactly right, Anish. Totally right.
I want to ski with this parallel because the more I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Jinx, what does a good content creator eventually become? They become an influencer, okay?
Yeah.
And if you think about creating content for your internal stakeholders, forget the outward brand building for a second here.
Yeah.
You're building decks, you're writing emails, you're creating reports. It gives you influence.
That's
when
right.
you combine creativity with data and storytelling, you build influence.
That's right. And to your point, we talked about you have to be the brand. So not only is it your decks and your this, it's your brand, like what you bring, right? You know that. I mean, you'll say it better than I because I'm channeling what you guys tell me. But the energy I'd bring to the office meant something.
Yes.
And influenced people in a way that you can't quantify, right? And separately, when I was quiet about something, because I bring energy, like, oh, he must be serious, right? So you actually can create your brand and create your own content just with yourself, right? Like it's so funny now that you're getting on this thread because we started saying, oh, build content, this, but actually, when you think about it, there's a direct parallel to the internal, the way you influence internally at a corporation, the way you hold your brand, to the way you would do it outbound. When now I'm, a solopreneur running Growth
Stack Commerce.
Growth Stack Commerce plug. Yeah, but the skills you learn in one are directly relevant to the skills you learn in the other.
And sometimes you may not be directly connected to the CEO of the company or the president. In my position, especially, right? But your LinkedIn post could travel to their phone screen.
Yeah.
And you have a shot at influencing even them.
That's right. You're right. Exactly. It all works together. See, we're breaking ground here. We're really peeling back the onion.
We are. Jinx, all I got to say, I think the future of leadership is rooted in creativity and personal influence. And I've lived this, but I will die on this hill. Become a creator to inspire not just your followers, your audiences, but also within your peers and your team. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, if your team doesn't see you be a creator, be an influencer, like you were saying, whether internally or externally, they won't be one. They won't think that there's a voice to be had. And when, honestly, if you're building a great, high-quality team, everyone has a voice. And they should be using that voice together, and that's where the good ideas come from. So I think that's 100% right, what you said. And again, I'll just stress it again, that get out of your own way, right? If you are unwilling to post, if you're unwilling to say something in a broader scale, then are you unwilling to lead? Are you unwilling to say that to your team, your smaller team, right? If you say it to your smaller team, you should be able to say it to the bigger team. That's authenticity, right? And so get out of your own way. You have a lot of great thoughts. I talk to people every day that have amazing insights that I learn from. Imagine if they could broadcast that, how many other people can learn.
This is The Art of Commerce, featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. If you found value in today's episode, follow
Subscribe.
the show, leave a review, and stay tuned for more insights for the minds reshaping modern marketing.
That's right. Awesome. See ya.